Hey guys, how's it going? Tyler and Kim are running a little bit late, and rather than I was too lazy to put out an announcement saying that we're going to be a little bit late, so it's just easier for me to do something solo. For those of you who just watched my interview or live stream with Luke Saburin, the CBSA agent, I wanted to go into a little bit more detail. As always, I'm not prepared, but let me share my screen. It's not showing my screen. Oh, we'll do this guy right here. So this woman, Kirkland, she's an MP for the Conservative Party, I think out of Richmond. And it almost like it gives the appearance that she's uh, doing the right thing in investigating the CBSA. But if you look at it, she goes, for years, many CBSA employees have carried the weight of discrimination, harassment, and a toxic workplace culture. If you read it on further, she talks about some woman who didn't get maternity leave when she was pregnant, or she was being pregnant had something to do with it. My point is, she's completely skirting the national security issue. She's completely skirting the criminal interference, the organized crime, and she's focusing on intersectionality, diversity, equity, inclusion. How is this a conservative position? What does this have to do with the Conservative Party of Canada? In America, they're rising up. They're showing some balls, and they're pushing back against all of this woke cultural decline. Whereas in Canada, this is our supposed Conservative Party, and I just had to call her out. I'm not going to speak for Mr. Saburin. He might have a different opinion, but I think what he was pointing out, completely gender neutral. If you watch the interview, he comes from a position. We kept talking about the Canadian Armed Forces. He has a military background, so for him, it's about the mission. It's about safeguarding the nation, securing the borders. Here, this is different. This is about equity, inclusion, inclusivity, diversity, and I just wanted to point that out. Um, there is a video, but apparently, if I play the video, the audio doesn't play very well. Um, Canadian Minister Evan Solomon says he won't ban X, and technically that's true. Instead, Canada will simply ban anyone from saying anything on X that could hurt someone's feelings, and that goes back in time without limit to something you posted years ago. This is, yeah, I mean, like these are censorship bills, and everybody sort of knows about these. I don't want to revisit them, but on the live stream, Luke, Mr. Saborin, he pointed out that there's all these censorship bills coming into Canada, and he specifically said, whatever administration is in power in the U.S., Democrat or Republican, we need your help. Um, I have a different view than some people who don't believe in this left right thing. It was the Democrats that brought massive censorship in the U.S. It's There are pockets of it right now with the Republican Party. It's almost all coming from pressure from the Israeli lobby to deny it, like Holocaust denialism should be criminal. But they are far more free speech than the Democrats. If the Democrats get back in 2028, we're all hooped. But anyway, putting that aside, like retroactive laws, they should be against the laws of God. They're doing it in California too. Like if you've left in the last 5-10 years, then there's retroactive back taxes. How can you apply taxes to someone who's already left your state? And the same thing here. They want to take this law and apply it retroactively. This is this is I don't know. There should be. This might sound stupid, but there should be a law against that, and that law should supersede legislation. Should be God's law. What do we got in comments? Hey JT, thanks for reposting the stream. Still waiting on Tyler and Kim. Apparently they're in heavy traffic. They might be half an hour late. Um, there's no questions from the comments. What else? Um, this China thing, Jason James and I, we did a live stream yesterday, and we put our heads together, and we just can't figure out what Mark Carney is hoping to accomplish. Um, by getting Canada closer to China. It doesn't make any sense. We're too close to the US. They're too strong. They're going to get Greenland. They're going to encircle us. It's in nobody's interest really to be closer to China. We're not culturally, as much as I respect China's sovereign right to pursue their own interests, we're not Chinese. I mean, culturally, we are like 99% similar to the US. This border that we have at the 49th parallel is just an imaginary border. Like if you cross from Vancouver down to Seattle, that we're very similar. We're more similar between Vancouverites and people in Seattle than Vancouverites and people in Toronto. And people in Toronto, if you go south to New York, they're somewhat similar. I'm not saying they're exactly similar. Same thing with Alberta if they go down south to Montana. Now, the Americans have more of a culture of liberty, and I say they're much smarter than we are. They understand that, government is a problem. It's not the solution. Whereas we're just like a bunch of children looking to government to protect us. But that being said, we are still very much similar. I am completely unprepared for this. Let's go see what's in the feed. My feed's gotten crazy, super negative since this Iran incident. Arbiham, the fake crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, claims the first thing he would do after taking power is normalizing relations with Israel and cutting off the Palestinian resistance. The Iranian diaspora supporting this are traitorous scum of the highest order. He's talking about me. I'm going to be on RB's podcast tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be with Salim Mansour. We'll be talking about this Iranian incident. I always have to mention, I'm basically not even Iranian anymore. Every year I become a little bit more Canadian, and I've been here for 35 plus years. It's to the point where I almost don't have a right to determine what happens in Iran. It's all up to the Iranian people, whatever they want. But when you talk to the diaspora or the expats, the Iranians that fled Iran, and shortly after '79, they took up residence in like Cologne, Germany, LA, California, Vancouver, Toronto, some other places. They are like violently anti-Islam. So when I have dinner parties with my family, the stuff that we say at that dinner party about Islam is like some things that would make somebody in the KKK blush. Like we are very critical of Islam, and I don't. How do I say this? Like we're critical of Islam, and it makes it easy for the intel agencies that want regime change in Iran to lean on people like us because we're ready, willing, and able to discredit the Islamic regime. That being said, the people in Iran don't like this regime much either. It is a very brutal regime. This is not like Ukraine and the Maidan coup. It is a color change revolution. I agree with that. But the Maidan coup, I don't think the Ukrainians hated their government the same way the Iranians hate their government. And the Iranian regime is very brutal. So the Maidan coup did get out of control, and they did fire on their own people. But in Iran, they do this all the time. So if there's a protest, they bring in people, machine gunners, and they spray bullets into the crowd, and the crowd disperses. And it's very difficult to turn around and say, this is the city of London, this is a color change revolution. Well, if the people of Iran have had enough, and they would rather be a vassal to Israel or the U.S., it's their choice. And I've tried talking to Iranians, and I tell them, I'm like, you could get a puppet regime. You could end up destroying, a country could get breaking up into multiple different countries. You could get something like Syria. They just don't care. They're like, Peyman, you're not the one that's here suffering under this hyperinflation. JT, I can't help but think Carney is actually intentionally pushing us toward the 51st. Of course, Trump won't have this while pushing the Golden Dome. Yeah, I don't know how the Golden Dome fits into this, but I mentioned this on Jason James' show, and I think I got the inspiration from you that maybe Carney's Brookfield stocks will appreciate if he becomes a part of the U.S. if Canada becomes 51st state. The problem is, I mean, King Charles, basically sent Mark Carney in to stall Trump. So, how do you square that circle? Is he turning on King Charles, or did him and King Charles have an ingenious plan to get all of Canada to be absorbed into the U.S., and then all us brain dead liberals are going to vote Democrat because the Democrats say that, elbows up? I just don't see, what is the strategy? JT, is it your opinion that you can have Islam and peace or not? I don't, like, I don't know anything about Islam. I know a little something about Christianity. Like, I can't cite specific verses in the Bible, but I grew up in this culture. We always say that Christianity is the foundation of the West, of the rule of law, common law, British legal tradition. You got the Ten Commandments. I listen to some people and they say Islam is evil. Now I don't know if they're being objective. Uh, it might be that they find some verse in the Quran that says, I don't know, to kill an infidel is not murder; it's the path to heaven, and they say that right there proves that all Muslims are evil. But you could cherry pick presumably something from the Bible as well. So I don't know. I don't. All I can tell you is that, when I was in Iran growing up, we weren't really Muslim. Iran has got kind of like a pagan tradition. We're more spiritual, sort of easygoing farmers. We're not religious Muslim zealots. But even still, like, the values that existed in Iran, very similar to the values that existed in Canada at some point. Like, honor your parents, don't cheat on your wife, don't steal. That's in the Bible. Don't lie. I'm pretty sure that's in the Bible. Set a good example for the children. Marriage, above all else, it should be what's in the best interest of the child. That's why the divorce rates are low, because if you, I don't know now, but back then, if you divorced, you would be persona non grata. If you cheated on your wife, you're persona non grata. It's just the family unit. That's what I'm trying to say. I suspect it doesn't matter what the religion says, unless it's something like Nazism or LGBTQ, which is extreme religious, quasi religion. But otherwise, most of these religions probably have overlap. I mean, the threats to security with China in bed with Canada. I mean, the threats. Do you mean this? Is it your opinion that you can have Islam and peace or not? I mean, the threats to security with China in bed with Canada. Uh, I don't even know. Like, one thing that could make sense to explain what Carney is doing is if China has fully infiltrated, but at this point, it's like a Manchurian candidate kind of scenario where they're blackmailing the legislators. This doesn't make any logical sense. Even for China, like, what are they hoping to have a foothold in Canada? Like, do they think they have a chance in hell of maintaining that foothold all the way across the Pacific? It seems absurd to me. I remember when Trudeau brought Chinese troops in, and they were practicing in the Arctic, and that caused a big problem. He backed off. As dumb as Trudeau is, he knew he had to back off. If you guys got any questions, throw them my way. I'm struggling here. Passing voter ID has to be done to save America. If not done, the radical left will immediately end the filibuster when they regain power. No, okay, yeah, but we don't have like an Elon Musk talking about things like election integrity in Canada. We don't have anything in Canada. We're just like a nation of infants. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's because we have so many oligarchs. all the money and everywhere is concentrated in the hands of like half a dozen people, and all of them are pro-government, pro-liberal party. Alex Jones, Canadian Prime Minister, publicly pledges allegiance to the communist dictator Xi. Yeah, this is a long time coming, and it's been building up slowly. So Alex Jones has started to attack Canada over the last few months. Sean Hannity has done it over the last few months. CSIS, in anticipation of American interference in the referendum in Alberta, came out and said that there's going to be interference in Alberta, which is CSIS's way of saying we're going to interfere and keep Alberta and oppose the CIA. But ever since Carney went to China, Alex Jones has come out even harder. Promethean Action has come out and started criticizing Carney, although they did a few days before he went as well. And who was the other one? Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, man, that guy he's amazing at messaging. Maybe not as much as a performer for podcasting, but he understands the issues. And he pointed out that the threat here is NORAD. You can't have Canada that's that big and has all those radar installations for the U.S. to detect, Russian missiles, satellites, whatever, rockets coming in, to go to the Chinese. And surely Mark Carney knows this. Like, before, it's not like Mark Carney rolled out of bed, hung over, and he's like, I want to go get some dim sum. Let's head over to Beijing. They discussed this, and they did the pros and cons, and they knew that this would precipitate a response to the U.S., but they did it anyway. JP. It's just, I saw this yesterday. I mean, good for them, but they're doing a party at $2,000 a ticket. Like, what do they have? Caviar? They're all about as independent or as authentic as the CBC. You will receive the same carefully constructed party talking points, just the ideological antithesis. Canadians are afraid. They know the corporate press, swill merchants are lying to them, so they will apprehensively come to social media and attempt to discern what's actually occurring. Then they find these fake independent influencers blowing out smoke up their ass regarding controlled opposition, Brokeback Bollier. It's utterly shameful. They're utilizing this moment to line their pockets and substantiate their inflated impressions of themselves. Yeah, it's what's happening is the Liberals always complained about how we're bringing American-style politics to Canada, and they ended up being the ones that brought it because they did the elbows up, turned politics into a sport essentially. But now the right is trying to do the same thing. They're trying to emulate people like Benny Johnson, a couple other ones. I don't know, Robert Barnes, Louder with Crowder, who's actually kind of part Canadian. But the difference is in the US, they actually stand for something. They actually believe in liberty. They're actually populist. They're actually America first. They're actually conservative. They actually have a brain. They actually understand, our rights come from God and they belong to the individual, not the state. These are things that we don't believe. So it's just window dressing when we try to emulate them. So it's like rah conservative, but our conservative party is more left than their Democrat party. I don't know what that is. Jason J. Oh yeah, we did this one yesterday. It was a pretty good episode, but I don't know what's going on with Carney. Eddie Cornell, this gentleman, Edward Cornell, he ran for the People's Party. I've interviewed him. He is one of the most fascinating people. He is the gentleman. He's one of the many that started what ended up being the Mosley decision. Eddie Cornell and Gerses as well. Thank you for launching the legal action against the government, finding the invocation of the Emergencies Act have been violation of our rights. We all owe you one. The Freedom Convoy has withstood the test twice now. Yeah, give Mr. Cornell a follow. Great guy. Oh man, I wasn't following him. I feel bad. I put out a post when the Mosley decision came out. That's when the Emergency Measures Act was found to be unlawful the first time by Justice Mosley. I was so excited, and I went through his entire ruling. I created a thread on it, and then Jason James invited me on his podcast, and we went through it. And I thought it was really like a win for the rule of law and for justice. Fast forward like 2-3 years, I've lost faith in all of these institutions. So when something like this happens, and we win on appeal as well, the government loses on appeal. I'm thinking Mark Carney went to the judge, probably the Supreme Chief Justice, and he said, right now is not the time to rule in favor of the government. Let's take this minor loss. We'll give the people a small victory, and we'll get them again. We'll find some other way to screw the little people. I have zero faith in these institutions. I have no faith in the bench. I have no faith in the legislators because the political parties have taken them over. I have absolutely no faith in the government because there's just all these bureaucrats that have no life skills, and they're utterly dependent on the government that's crushing us through all of these taxations. I have no faith in the military. As good as it may have once been, it's like the RCMP DEI ruined it. There's a reason we have tampons in the men's bathrooms in the military. It's not because the men are menstruating. It's because they're trying to humiliate the military. They're trying to feminize society. We're moving in a feminized version of society. If you want to know what happens when you're extreme masculine, look at Iran, the government of Iran. You want to see what happens when you're extreme feminine? Look at the society we live in right now. Just a bunch of soy boys, men, weak men that either don't know how to protect their women or are just too afraid, because if you try to stand up, you get called a bigot or you get thrown in jail for defending your wife. And they're trying to move everything towards a nanny state. If you don't have the property rights, you can't protect your family. The government has to come in and protect your family. The government has to come in and provide housing, shelter. And it's the same thing with the family court system. They basically, the women are married now to the government. They're dependent on the government instead of their spouse. Hey, Katy Perry, your boyfriend is a criminal and your music sucks. I never understood why would she go out with that loser? But first of all, I'm pretty sure he's gay. But I always thought when they did that press release with him and Katy Perry, is like his bodyguard. They're like, it's too expensive to keep this man alive. The people in Canada, they hate him too much. They wanted to test the waters and see if it was safe to let him out in public again. They're like, nope, people still hate you. Former CIA officer Larry Johnson drops a bombshell. Larry says the chaos in Iran was not an organic uprising, but a calculated CIA Mossad intelligence operation using a deliberately engineered currency crash to spark protests, which Iran ultimately crushed. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it was a color revolution, and I think they had agitators to lean into extreme violence, which is probably why it failed. I think the Iranian people were like, whoa, as bad as our government is, I mean, they're beheading cops and they're executing cops. That's horrific. But I don't think the people care. The people in Iran, they don't care if it's a CIA Mossad operation. It would be like if the CIA came in and tied Carney to an M1A1 Abrams tank and dragged him to Washington. I wouldn't care. I don't care about the sovereignty issue, man. The guy's a criminal. Maybe also tie Trudeau, Freeland, Mendocino, Lamed, Ronnie did the back end of that too. And I think our guest is here. Tyler, there you are. Hey, Tyler.
Oh, hello, Peyman. How are you this fantastic Saturday?
Hey, man, I'm glad you showed up. I was failing miserably in trying to keep the audience entertained on my own.
Oh, I'm sure you're doing a fantastic job. No, it's been so over here where like in Winnipeg, the temperature was sitting at about +6 when I left on Thursday. And by the end of the day, it was -30 with like 60, 70 kilometer winds. So
sounds like it's a little bit above average for Winnipeg.
It was, oh man. Oh, it was brutal. Absolutely brutal. But no, apparently there was a massive pileup on the number one just coming into Winnipeg. So I had to take some back roads to try and get here. It was eventful. Kim is on her way though. She's hopefully just running upstairs right now. So
No, it's fine. I mean, these things happen. happen. It's no big deal for me, man. How have you been?
Oh, outside of this, fantastic. I love seeing Canada, hitch its buggy to a authoritarian communist organization. I love to see that. So it's always a good day to be a Canadian when we can always cheer for communism.
Man, I'm surprised Carney decided to partner with China. Given the recent events in Iran, I thought that he would reach out to the IRGC.
Right? Like, hey, can you guys give us a helping hand here? I hear you guys are running in, having a little bit of a problem. You guys want to, it's almost like a business merger. You take all the experts that were in that field or in those departments, like, well, you guys seem to run an authoritarian country. You ran it for like 50 years. You guys want to come over here?
Could you imagine they send their young global leaders to Iran to learn from the IRGC on how to crush the local population?
Wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure they probably got notebooks to stack to the ceiling on how to do this, because we're very much seeing it in real time.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Kim, if anybody notices problems with my video, I'm in the middle of nowhere, but hopefully my audio is fine.
Good call. I'm very much looking forward to disappearing from a lot of this stuff.
I just got one frozen image from you. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you just, yeah.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully everyone can see. Oh, right. I forgot we could do this.
No, Prairie says that everything is good. I guess it's
okay.
No problems here. Yeah, man. I mean, while we're waiting for Kim, what the hell do you think Carney's doing? Like, is he just trying to piss off Trump at the risk of like inciting a full invasion from the U.S. Marines?
Carney and Trump knew each other. They're not strangers. They've known each other for well over 20, 30 years. I know Trump personally has done a lot of business dealings with Brookfield and with Mark Carney. So they're not strangers in any sense of I hope anyone doesn't think otherwise. I think, especially now that a lot of people are discovering the Monroe Doctrine or the Dunroe Doctrine, where the United States views anything within the Western Hemisphere as a security threat. With the influence that we've seen within China, in Canada, the police stations operating independently. Hey, anyone remember Han Dong and how he said that he was going to sue everyone because we accused him of being a Chinese asset, and then he suddenly dropped anything and just like, yeah, here's all my meetings with the Chinese consulate and all the big movers and shakers over in China. I think what this is actually going to do, because the United States will not allow China to have a absolute foothold within North America if Trump stays.
I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear. Hold on.
You still there?
I am. I was just waiting for Kim.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you were going to go on. Yeah. But that being said, like, same question. What the hell is Carney thinking? He must have read that national security strategy document that specifically says, Fortress America, we're going to lock down the Western Hemisphere. It's like, yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to go sign a deal with the communists.
So what I think is actually going to happen with this, if this stuff persists and Trump sticks the course, I think the liberals have been playing the "we actually hate Trump" thing in order to bankrupt Canada so the United States could take over. I honestly believe that.
Kim is here. I can't see your video, Kim, but are you here? How's it going?
She said she lost her audio.
Oh, okay. I guess it's not going too good. Uh, what what would be in it for the Liberal Party in bankrupting Canada and joining the US?
Stability. Absolute stability. Like Canada is in as much as we like to, blow smoke up our own butts here. Canada is irrelevant on the international stage, like literally irrelevant. So we look at countries, the United States, the UK, India, China. Those are the big movers within global perspective. And so I think with that, we see Canada is less and less prepared. It's like if you were running on hard financial times, well, maybe I go donate plasma and get a couple $100. Now I'm donating semen to get a couple hundred. Like it's just more and more things. And now you start selling off things. First, you sell off the stuff you don't really need. Now you start selling off the china, the cutlery, you know, maybe your air fryer. You donate, go throw that away, put a lien against your car. I think Canada is in that position. We have taken out a title loan against our own interests. And I think Canada is in a position that we are absolutely crumbling.
Do you think they're doing this for money? Like they're so in debt, they're hoping that Trump will come in. Basically, like they shit the bed and they don't want to fix the problem, but they don't want to get blamed. So there is this like let America come in and take over.
I could very much see that argument coming from the liberals. Like we see a lot of their positions are actually pretty right wing. They're talking about energy production. They're talking nuclear. When have you heard a liberal talk about nuclear? So they're talking about building this type of stuff, trying to get this infrastructure, trying to move forward. And so I think that there's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of things behind the curtain that we'll never see until history finally uncovers this stuff. I think that they've absolutely. We see how militarily superior countries like Russia, the influence that China has had around the world, militarily, economically, everything. And I think Canada's starting to figure out that instead of doing like what the Swiss did, where all their wealth, they invested it in their country, we pissed it away in order for gender neutral rice in like Taiwan or some crap. We didn't actually invest in our country. We tried to send it overseas. So I think we're realizing that militarily things are shaking up. And for Carney to say new world order, Emmanuel Macron, the French prime minister, president, whatever he is, I don't care. He sounds funny. Has said the same thing. It is time for a new world order without the United States.
I can understand Macron. He's trying to get ahead of basically the divorce that America has initiated with Europe. But Carney, like he's doing these things that are ass backwards. The first one was the coalition of the willing. We don't need America. We're going to go closer to Europe, which, by the way, is going bankrupt. And now China. And the argument that you're making is Canada is insolvent, and the liberals don't want to be blamed for it, and so they're precipitating this U.S. invasion and takeover.
Yeah, I think the document. Well, I wouldn't say the documents have already been signed, but it is delicious, JT. I appreciate that. I think that there's like conservatives, anyone that's on the right, even someone kind of liberal or libertarian kind of leaning, we're very discerning. And that I think that's actually a fault as much as it is a blessing that a lot of us, we double check stuff. Trust but verify. But the liberals, you see, as soon as the liberals came out with any of their platforms, even though they were conservative talking points, they went, we love it. We love it. We love it. We want more of that. We want more liberal conservative talking points. So they just, whatever the call sign is, and you could see it on X, you see when the marching orders get sent out. Immediately that tone shifts. I think I joke, but I think like the liberals have like a Rolodex, like in case of scandal, like break glass, where it's here with his security clearance. Um, Abortion is a human right or is healthcare, and a couple other ones that they just throw out. And conservatives, like retarded children, see the dangling keys and go like, yeah, well, abortion's homicide and murder. It's like, yep, yes, it is. Now they just push through another policy position because you guys are too busy trying to fight the liberals on everything. But I think they're effective with their messaging. And because these people are very dogmatic, they're very much capable of just whatever the message is, we get behind it. While the right's like, nah, look at us right now. Anyone on the right. We are bifurcated over a chick who tried to run over a police officer. We're fighting over that. It's unbelievable.
Sorry, I was
That's good.
is Kim here yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm finally here, and I can hear. So hi.
Welcome, Kim. Sorry that we ran into some problems. I am in the middle of nowhere, so I might not be able to see your video, but can you hear my audio?
Yeah, I can hear your audio.
All right,
I can
Kim.
see you
So
too.
the opening topic, we thought we'd start with something light, and we're talking about geopolitics, Carney, China, and how they basically want to they want the argument we're making is maybe the liberals want Canada to be the 51st state. What's your thoughts?
Definitely sounds like a light topic. I like it. So my thoughts on Canada becoming the 51st state. Is that the question?
Yeah, like what do you think? Because Carney just went to China, right? And he's saying, we need a new world order. What do you think's going on?
Oh, I don't know, but I know getting into bed with China, bad. Hi, Perry. Yeah, not good. I feel like if I had to choose between China or America, I'd rather go America. Personally, I think any sort of dealings with China's already taken too much control in Canada as it is, and I feel like we're already headed towards that communist country that people don't want to admit or even see it. But I tell you, people that came from communist countries sure can. That should tell you a lot there. But I think involving China even more into things, I think is really bad, personally. I don't know totally. I know they were talking about something about EV vehicles. I think that was like a big aspect of it. I think the amount of EV vehicles they're willing to bring in from China here also frightens me. I mean, when you think about everything that China has its hands on, whether it's phones, TikTok, this, that, there are so many aspects that they've already integrated themselves into and are quote unquote spying on everybody. And I think EV vehicles, I don't know. To me, it just sounds like something out of a not necessarily a horror movie, but it just
Tyler,
she just died.
oh, I thought it was just on my end that she came across all of robotic. Was it on your end too, Tyler?
No, she fine until she went. Eh.
Yeah, we're making fun of her about poor technology. Poor girl.
Blame Elon.
The EV thing, like they want to bring in EV cars. Doug Ford came in and said it's going to harm Ontario workers. And I'm guessing Alberta and Saskatchewan are looking at this. They're like, yes, we've got this separation in the bag.
Possibly, but Doug Ford has done everything to destroy any and all negotiations, famously or infamously, depends how you want to look at it, where he ran that ad of Reagan talking about tariffs. Tariffs bad, tariffs bad. And Trump was, we're done. You know what? Single gun salute, have fun. Like, I'm out of here. And so in addition to threatening civilians with an act of war, let's really put this into perspective. Doug Ford said he would shut off the power of American civilians in response to Donald Trump's tariffs. That is an act of war, a literal act of war. So would you, if you were in a negotiation with someone, anyone out there, let's say you were negotiating for a car, and they said, they put a clause in there, if you fail to make a payment, we're going to take your house. Or worse. We're going to take your children. We'll take your children from you.
Oh.
I think that's worse than losing your house. And then you go,
yeah, okay. I was like,
what? That's on the table? We're now able to put them into contracts. And I think that has a big souring effect, because the United States is now going, oh, now that's off the table. Or sorry, now that's on the table. You are actually threatening civilians with shutting off their power in the winter. So that really would taint. I think anyone that went to go buy a vehicle would say, you know what, man, you guys are like telling you're going to put my kids in slavery if I don't, if I miss a car payment. What is this place? Right? Is this going to be the stipulation in those EVs that come from China? Like, you miss a payment off to the weaker camps.
Funny comment from JT. Drug fraud is a liberal. I think it means Doug Ford. Ontario really needs the Ontario Party to rise up. Progressive and conservative are oxymorons.
100% agree. Yep. Derek Sloan has been doing a fantastic job for many years with the Ontario Party.
We actually had him on Philosopher, Stoic, Teddy Bear, our podcast on Thursday. He's a really smart guy.
Well, he's no joke. He knows his shit. I mean, remember, he was unceremoniously booted for talking about the COVID stuff. Yep. Good old Cheesecake Ford booted him. Sorry, that's my loving name for him. Remember, he said during COVID, just go stay at home and make cheesecake. Stay at home and make cheesecake.
I mean, who doesn't love cheesecake? Just saying.
Yeah, but in his case, I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys a question. You guys have a podcast. You kind of have your finger on the pulse of Canada. Maybe we'll go Kim and then Tyler. Do you think that the Liberal voter in Canada will tolerate, accept, go along with Canada cozying up to China?
Yes. Sadly, yes. I think the way that the Liberal government has its Liberal minions wrapped around its finger, yes, I feel like they'll be able to convince them that this is a good thing. And it'll convince them. I think the government could literally convince its minions to go right into communism and they wouldn't even realize it. Personally.
Tyler, what do you think?
Look at how the media spun Mark Carney cozying up with China. I didn't see one article. If there is, please send it my way, where there's a major news publication, CBC, CTV, Global, National Post. I don't see any of them saying this is a problem. None of them are saying that. All of them got their marching orders that what Carney is doing is great for Canada. Yeah, Doug Ford's pissed off, but you know what? He's a conservative, so we don't really care what conservatives have to say. We have to look at the national interest. And Xi Jinping isn't Donald Trump. He's not Orange Man. So he's good. Maybe that's the simplest way to put it. Orange Man bad.
You know, like I kind of agree. Like, you have the Brentwood boomer who's brain dead and will vote Liberal, right into the gates of hell. But first of all, the youth are pissed off. Like the youth aren't the problem. The problem is the baby boomers. And I think as healthcare starts degrading, I think the baby boomers, hopefully they can do this before they die off, but I think they're going to start splitting away from the liberals. I don't know if it's enough, especially since they have a stranglehold over the CBC, but
Well, look at the CBC's demographic, 65 plus. They dominate it. The 65 plus still see the CBC as authoritative, as trustworthy, while anyone 45 and younger realizes the CBC are liars. They are the, the fourth or fifth estate. The fourth arm of the government is our media. So I don't see boomers really changing their perspective, and I think here's a bit of a hot take. I think always blaming boomers for boomers being boomers, like would you be surprised if a rabid dog bit you? No, you'd almost be asking for it. Like if you went into a cage that said, "Don't enter rabid dog." Like, okay, well, that's what the rabid dog's going to do.
No, but I'm different. They're not going to hurt me.
Exactly.
I'm special.
So are we talking about dogs or boomers?
They're kind of one and the same.
There's probably a couple of pissed off baby boomer people in the audience right now.
Love you.
But so I think understanding that that's the expectation. They've always voted. They're always, whatever the CBC says, they'll buy it hook, line, and sinker. You try and convince them otherwise. Their anchoring bias is already so ingrained that they're unable to even break from it. Like a lot of the times when I'm talking with, like even my mother-in-law, once I get through like the CNN, CBC talking points, and I actually get to talk to her own views are vastly, completely opposite of what CBC and CNN are saying. But her anchor pulls her to, I still believe it, even though I myself don't. It's a weird cognitive dissonance that I think they have here.
That's strange. I've completely lost faith in our institutions. I was talking about that before you guys jumped on, and I'm trying to see how do we reform the country. Some, like Derek Sloan, some sort of cultural change where you have citizen-led leadership. Let's go with you, Kim. Like, if Canada just joined the US, I don't think it would miraculously overnight stop being liberal and reform itself. Like, how do we fix this mess? Easy question.
I'm gonna say Tyler answer this one first.
Obviously, anyone that views government as a solution when government was already the problem, it's like you're the person that goes to a strip club and think the strippers actually like you. It is a grassroots. It is cultural. It is like, look what everyone talks about. Look at all the spin or not spin, but all everything centralizes around. Look at what the Conservatives did. That one time we went down to Ottawa and we really gave it to those liberals. Well, what's on the other side? Like, what are our political, ideological opponents doing? They haven't stopped. They've been going for 20, 30, 40 years. They haven't stopped. So we reminisce about the Freedom Convoy. Yeah. What have you done since then? Like, genuine question. What have Conservatives done since the Freedom Convoy? Are there more pushes for getting involved?
The Conservative Party or small C Conservatives?
Small C. I wouldn't look at the CPC. Those guys are a bunch of liberals too. They'll latch their buggy to whatever they need to in order to try and appease someone. But the second that sentiment around the Freedom Convoy started to turn, Pierre fucked off, flipped off, disappeared. He no longer supported it. So it comes from, like, I think the Freedom Convoy was the start of something, and we just pissed it away. I truly believe that. Like, let's look at like how the Liberals are very good at their messaging. I think best in the business. They are fantastic at it. They're always talking about, look at the hard work we've done. Look at where we're building. We don't want to stop. We're working towards something. It's nebulous. Like, truly, it's nebulous. They just say, we're doing something. Okay, well, what are we doing? Well, we're building stuff. Uh-huh. I could also build a mountain of garbage. Doesn't mean I actually built something worthwhile, but they're very good at that. And the Conservatives aren't. They're not giving an alternative. They're not giving an alternative vision of empowering Canadians. So I think that's why the Freedom Convoy was so important and why we're pissing away that opportunity, is because we're not building on top of it. We did a thing that one time a couple years ago. We can talk about January. Oh, sorry.
What do you think, Kim? Kim? Yeah.
I don't know. I feel that, like, I feel like there's a lot of I almost feel that there needs to be like that person in the middle that people gravitate towards. Like, there's a reason people like Trump win, right? Like, he's really good socially. He can appeal to a lot of people. And I feel that there's too much division, the right and the left, that you have the diehards on both sides that will refuse to see anything else. And it's like you need somebody in the middle who feels more in the middle to take on that liberal side and start changing the way the thoughts are and the way that things are being done. Because I don't know if, like, Pierre was very close until people started comparing him to Trump. And then all of a sudden he just, like a turtle, just went back into a shell and pissed it all away. Like, and that makes me so angry because he really had me going. Like, I was like, yes, I am voting for you. And it was so sad to see just how much he hid away after people, the comparison to Trump. And I don't really understand why. I mean, I guess Trump is so hated for stupid reasons, but regardless, it's like you need somebody who has more of that centrist mentality to try to run the left and start bringing it back to either more of a middle ground, or at least try getting the far leftists, move them over a little bit. I don't think, I feel like there's too many of them in Canada, and I just don't understand them. It's very hard for me to understand their thought process with a lot of things. Even when it comes to Trump, you can literally have somebody who's a Democrat saying the exact same things as Trump, but as soon as Trump says it, oh my God, you're bad. They could do worse things than Trump and they support it, but Trump does something good, and right away they have something bad to say about it. And it seems, I don't know. I feel, like I said, there just needs to be somebody who's got more of a brain on their head, brain on their shoulders, brain in their head, whatever I'm trying to say.
We need some adults in the room. It's just,
yeah,
it's like children who have unlimited money because they can tax us, and there's no criticism because the voters don't. They're absolutely disinterested in getting involved in the political process. So this grift continues, and something's got to change.
Agreed. And it seems like they're too they're too easily just to sit and listen to what somebody is saying. Like they've been so used to their CNN or their things like that on either side of the spectrum that I'm just going to believe what this is. And through time, those outlets have changed and have gone so far in the opposite direction that people don't even notice it, because the place where they trusted for so long has changed, and they felt like it couldn't have. Like it must still be the same trustworthiness. Like, even, I know it's kind of stupid, but People magazine. I used to read a lot of trashy magazines, loved them. Okay. Us Weekly, all that other crap. And I would read a lot of stories, but I would never actually take it to where I would believe the stories unless it was in People magazine. Because if it was in People magazine, then I knew, okay, this is a real story. This is true, because their reputation was of that. Like, they're not going to be having just trashy things put in their magazine. Like, they're more reputable. So it seems like that's exactly what happened, is they used to have reputable places, outlets, CNN, etc., that have turned into the trashy magazines, and people just didn't even notice it.
It's running on fumes.
Yeah.
Tyler,
it's a very weird brain putting it, but
there's a question, and you guys can both answer this. You guys have a podcast, and I have a podcast, obviously, trying to educate the public. My honest opinion is that me and people like me, yourself, thousands of others in Canada over the last 5-6 years since COVID, we have made a difference. I think we've helped guide these people along on their awakening. What do you feel about your show? Like, have you made a positive impact, or did you find you've wasted your life?
Well, I'm a raging asshole and I criticize anything and everything. I'm still a liberal. I'm not a conservative. I make that very clear. The way that I look at things is Canada should be so much better than what it is. And I think that's what bothers me the most is Canada isn't Uganda. Canada isn't Mogadishu. We should be kings. Like, the ability for Canada and Canadians to literally choose our destiny, and the fact that we wallow in at least we're not thing, even as I just pointed out. Well, we're not South Africa yet. There's a lot worse out there. Yeah, but there's also a lot better. We should be so much better. We have so much that we could offer the world. And that's where I get pissed off from that perspective. I don't want to race to the bottom. I want Canada to survive so that my children have a place that they could be proud of. A country, a nation that they are proud of, not where we feel ashamed. Not where our kids can't even experience what I experienced. Owning a home, being able to work, doing what they love and making a life out of it. And that's a lot of where my focus is. It's not the race to the bottom. We should be racing to the top. Imagine if we had a country because of industry here. You didn't have to pay income tax. Imagine that. Imagine a country where you don't have to worry about your daughters being assaulted, SA'd, or raped, or whatever else. Because we live in a high trust society where you can leave your door unlocked. Imagine that. And that's where I get pissed off. I would love to see a Canada like that.
I agree. To more answer your question, though, I don't think that us doing the podcast has been a waste of time. It might not be exactly where I would like it to be honest. But I think it's refreshing to see, like, when we first started it we were literally just decided we're going to talk into the void and see if anybody decides to listen. You know, it was a way for us to be able to get out what we're feeling and see if we could find camaraderie against other Canadians, Americans, whoever else may tune in. And we have noticed that, like we've seen that, and I find it refreshing, and it's nice to see other people's viewpoints, whether they agree or disagree. I like opening that door to conversation. I love being able to have a good debate with somebody because, and I mean, the thing is, even on our podcast, like we may have a lot of the same ideology, but there are times you'll see us both arguing back and forth because I'm like, no, I believe this. And he's like, no, I believe this. And we try to keep things very authentic that way. Like, I'm not just going to sit and agree with everything he says or vice versa. I think that there needs to be more people like all of us that are out there trying to spread the word and trying to give people the courage more to stand up. And I think that's one thing that I've heard from people in real life, whether it be coworkers or whatever that may tune into the podcast, that are, I didn't know that you felt that way. And I don't feel comfortable talking about this at work because I'm scared other people feel this way, or I know they feel this way. And it's refreshing to see somebody else have the same viewpoints as I do, and actually going out there and not being afraid of the backlash and not being afraid of being banned off of YouTube for 3 years. Holler YouTube. So, you know, I don't think it's a waste of time at all. I rather enjoy doing it, and I encourage more people to voice their beliefs, their opinions in a non-violent sort of way.
If you guys were going to describe your podcast, like, is it political commentary? Is it non-ideologically aligned? Are you coming from a specific ideology? Do you bring on guests? Are you education? Like, how would you describe it?
I would say that we're definitely more political centered. There's a lot of other stuff we probably could talk about too, but we're more political centered. We do have guests that come on. We've had yourself, we've had Maxime Bernier, a bunch of other people that we've absolutely loved having on the podcast, and we've learned so much from. Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah, I definitely think that we have a political slant. You know, I don't know. Do I fall into a category of a political slant? I think that's impossible not to be. Like, I think anyone that says that I'm not biased, I think they're a liar, and I don't trust you. So I think everyone. Thank you, JT.
Aw, thanks, JT. I heart you.
Kim, and for the people only listening in, Kim and Tyler, your podcast is great. The open dialogue is what is needed. Kudos to both of you for that pursuit. JT.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Seriously. And I'm grateful for every single person that tunes in. But I look at it, yeah, definitely. We do have guests on. We haven't been doing it as much, and I know, like, my schedules have been getting really, really hectic, and so it's more of a, you know, we just kind of talk to each other. I'm not saying I'm not opposed to having guests, but I know with how our scheduling is, it is hard for people to come on. So I understand that. I don't fault people that aren't able to. But yeah, we definitely have I personally, I think culture is how you win. So I can comment politically, but I think culture is where the battle is actually fought and won. It's in our media. It's in our music. You know, look at Fucking Tom McDonald blew up out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Now you can't go somewhere without hearing something about Tom McDonald criticizing or singing or rapping about something. So
Yeah, he's
I
a
think
spirit
that's
animal.
and I think that's where that's super important for us, is to focus on that cultural aspect.
You know,
Agreed.
I was watching. No, I was just gonna say, John Carpenter, he said, politics is downstream from culture. Culture is downstream from education. And having run for public office, I can tell you, the role, like running as a candidate, you're not there to fix problems. You're applying for a position in government. It's like a job interview. And if at that point your culture sucks, it's already too late. It's not your job to fix it as a politician.
Mm-hmm. You can't.
Yeah. When I think having a podcast like ours, having podcasts like yours, it doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum that you land on. I think with people like us, whether he is more liberal, whether, it doesn't matter, but it's like-minded people of any political background. And I think people seeing that, or even taking the time, like there are people who are very much opposed to what Tyler and I talk about. And I'm like, you need to just actually listen to an episode. Like, just sit there and actually listen to it, because a lot of our ideologies, they line up. It's just like when we went to the 1,000 March for Children. We were talked to people on both sides that were fighting each other, and they literally were fighting the exact same thing, and they didn't even realize it. And there are so many people that are like that in Canada, in America, in the world, that are fighting the other side because other side bad, instead of actually just stopping and listening to what they're saying. And yeah, there's going to be things that both sides are going to say that you might not agree with, but if you actually just sat and listened to what the person's saying, maybe you can, okay, you're not homophobic, you just feel this way, or you're not racist or whatever. It's just this is going on, and okay, well, yeah, I can actually understand that. There's a lot more understanding that can be there that people just don't realize. And I hope, I don't know if it's happened, but I hope we have people who don't agree with us ideological wise, who have tuned in and was like, yeah, I agree with that, and would actually listen.
Tyler, I just wanted to say really quickly, I was laughing. Kim said, listen to the other side. Pretty much all my family and friends, they're all liberals. So I go to these dinner parties and I just sit there and I got to listen to open borders immigration, soft on crime, safe supply. I'm using the word liberal loosely, but dying with dignity, DEI. And I'm just like, oh God, pass the bottle.
And that's the funny thing. I agree with a lot of their positions, but I don't agree how far they've gone. And I think that's because when you remove those barriers of, whatever the foundational aspect of your morals or your ethics, when you remove those barriers, it just becomes my preference. And whoever can make that better argument as to why my preferences are better than your preferences, then I win. A la why we literally, I just seen it. Someone said, I can't see a logical argument as to why bestiality is wrong. And having intercourse
This is in the
with
comments
children.
right now?
No, I seen this on X. Someone made that argument. I can't see a logical argument why that's wrong. What?
I mean, you can make a philosophical argument, like there's no law in the universe that's it's unhealthy.
But to say logical,
there's no consent there. Yeah, there's no consent. That animal can't consent to that. Gross.
And so now I kind of feel like I'm burying myself because I said I agree with a lot of their positions. Okay, hold on, let's stop. There has to be some kind of guardrail. There has to be. We don't. You leave the kids alone. I don't know. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. But
Leave the animals alone too. Well, we're at
yeah,
it.
right. But I think because those arguments and those ideas go unchecked, don't have an opportunity to really push back on that. So I agree with someone dying with dignity, someone that has terminal cancer and they know their ticket's punched. They're just waiting for the train to arrive. I have no problem. I watched my grandmother die from ALS. I watched my grandfather die from Alzheimer's. I've watched it and it's terrible. I have a big problem when someone says, I have depression, I want out, or I don't want to exit, but I feel I have no choice. Then that's where I see Canada let that person down. We
Not even I have no
choice. Let them down.
It's not even that you have no choice. It's literally they're asking for help and the government says, we can't help you. The only way we can help you is here you go.
We can help
Here's
you.
your maid.
Drink this bleach.
Right? Like, tell me if you were like even going to your significant other or family member and being like, babe, I'm really sad. Like, I'm really depressed and I don't want to be here. And him saying, handing me a gun and here you go. Wow.
I'm assuming he only gives you one bullet. He doesn't trust you in your state of mind.
No, should be smart. But but I mean, could you imagine how that person would feel at that moment? Like, wow, you don't even care about me. Like, I'm having a hard time caring about my own self right now and finding worth in my life. And you just handed me a loaded gun. So clearly you don't care about me. Why am I bothering? You know, like that must feel so helpless for those people and so disappointing. Like this whole MAID thing that Canada's been doing, I can understand the good parts in it, and I can understand where with my Baba, she had dementia and she was really suffering at the end. She lived to 100 years old and she was really suffering her last 5 years. And she would scream in pain all the time. I can understand something like MAID being beneficial for a person that is in so much pain and there is no hope. Actually, no hope. To have that compassion and be like, okay, you know what, we'll help you out. But for somebody who's suffering from depression or anxiety or doesn't want to take the next vaccine or whatever it may be, or you're homeless, to be like, here's your option. That kid, I'm sorry, he was 26, I think. To me, that's still a kid. They're like, here you go. Peace. Are you serious? I can't. Like it's just so disgusting.
Yeah, that's not compassion. That's I kind of view it this way. We were told in history that, the little mustache man was a terrible person. Lenin was a terrible person. Stalin was a terrible person. Japan's imperialism was terrible. The issues that took place in Iran, in Cambodia, with Pol Pot, the Rwandan genocide, we were told that these people were evil. Evil. Dr. Mengele was evil. He experimented on people. He was evil. And if that is the barometer that are most vulnerable within our country, the poor, the sick, the needy, and if our absolute sign of compassion is, we just off them because they're useless, or this young man who took his own or ended up going through with MAID because someone felt depressed, that Canada is evil. Canada is evil. I don't see any difference. I don't see daylight between what the Nazis did and here. If we are willing to, we sterilize our children, what's different than what the Nazis did? We encourage people to self-exit. We target people with mental deficiencies and tell them that they should remove themselves, or we encourage them to chemically castrate themselves. Where's the gap? Would history look at Canada with this MAID program and the expansion? If you have COVID anxiety or vaccine anxiety, you might have, expand MAID into that.
You might qualify for MAID.
Yeah. Would history look at Canada as we look at the Nazis? And I've been thinking about that a lot, and that bothers me. It bothers me a lot.
You know what I wonder? Okay. So
how many
with a lot of people, sorry?
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a
No. Whatever. No. Anyway, what I've wondered is, okay, when you think about it, I'm not Catholic. I do not consider myself Catholic, but I grew up Catholic. So in that mentality, self-exiting is wrong. It's an eternal sin. You go to hell for that. So it makes me wonder if some of these people who decide to, agreed, JT, who have decided to go the MAID route, i.e. even this 26-year-old kid, if it's primarily because I don't want to do it myself, because then it's a sin, it's bad. But if that is the case, is not then giving somebody else permission to self-exit you literally no different?
You know,
you're still saying, go ahead, do it. So I don't know why that would be even any better. Personally,
I interviewed this philosopher, and we were talking about Christianity. So we're joking now, but like, imagine you create the most bitchin' religion. It's great. And the central premise is your life sucks, but when you die, you go to heaven, and all your followers, they start killing themselves instantly. You're like, hold on. We have a version 1.1 where if you kill yourself, you don't get into heaven. So it's like, we've kind of removed that now. It's like, here, off yourself MAID.
Right? Exactly. Like it really makes me wonder in those situations, just because, there are so many people who are religious out there. And to me, if I was that sad that I did not want to be on this plane anymore, I would do something to self-exit myself. You know what I mean? Like I would be like, okay, I'm out. Nice knowing you guys. But to sit there and be like, no, I'm not going to do this. I want you to do it for me. Why is that? Is that because there's that fear? If there is that fear, clearly you don't want to self-exit. So you need help. Forget what anybody else is telling you. Forget the government, what they're telling you. Go get help. Or if it has to do with a more of a religious aspect, where if I self-exit, I'm going to go to hell. Well, you're giving someone permission to exit you. So I don't really see that any different. But I don't know. It's kind of one of those thoughts.
It could be. Yeah, it could be one way around that. Let me quickly, my phone's going to fall off the ledge and I lose the internet. 1 second.
Oh no. I was gonna say, I think Peyman's got the downs. Is he like?
Sorry about that. Super ghetto over here.
Just
yeah. What was I gonna say? When I was in high school, the way that they was called euthanasia back then, was if somebody is in so much pain that they can't kill themselves or they can't move, then you would need euthanasia. Whereas now it's like I'm hungover or I stubbed my toe, I get euthanasia made.
Yes. And the other thing that's really forked up too is that with my baba did not qualify for MAID because she wasn't of sound mind, because she had dementia. But you're going to tell me that people who suffer from depression or gender dysphoria, this, that, the next thing, they're of sound mind and they can make that decision? Really?
See, I don't disagree with Laura here. to me, heaven sounds like hell. The reason why we actually, like, in my view anyways, why do the good times feel good? Because they're fleeting. Why do the bad times, we forget about them? Think of the bad relationships you've been in. Yeah, they sucked, but those bad memories go away in favor of the good ones.
Well, they
So I
make
think
you who you are.
yeah, but I think because we have those ebbs and flows, those peaks and valleys, that's actually what gives life its meaning. And I think that that's really important. You do want that. You need a level of struggle, because if everything's perfect, nothing ever goes wrong, you have absolute abundance, which is this. I think communism is the secularists' heaven. Look at how they talk. Yeah, no, and I totally agree. And she says, so I live in excruciating pain every day, but I see you with my eyes, not my pain. Yeah.
Sad that you have to live that way. Sorry for that, but I agree with, yes, the rest of it.
So I think that's important.
I believe what he or she is saying is that they don't agree with euthanasia. They have more of a Christian perspective that life is sacred.
I agree. I agree, but also when someone says, like, finally, like, I've had enough, two kind of thoughts come through my head. Either if someone says I had enough and it's not a life debilitating problem, like I said, if it's like cancer or whatever that terminal thing is, that this is going to kill me. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Even the best medical treatment in the world will not save me. I can commend someone that says, you know what, God put me on this earth, and you know what, it's going to be God that takes me out of it. I have no problem with that. But I have to look at the people that say on the other side, I don't want to die as a husk. I don't want to be trapped as my grandmother, trapped in my own body. The mind still works, but the body is broken. And I think we have to have sympathy for those people also.
Yeah.
At least give them that option. But I think we've gone too far when it's, if you have vaccine hesitancy, well, maybe we should remove you from the, from this mortal coil. I think that's dangerous.
Well, the thing is, normally with people with cancer or something like Lou Gehrig's disease, like, there is that pursuit to try to help them, to try to whatever. But somebody who's depressed like that, that is something that is curable. Yes, it may be with medication and therapy and stuff like that, but it is, or at least something that you can maintain or take control of. It'll never go away. I mean, I'm living proof of that. I have to take my happy pills every day, but without my happy pills, I don't like me. Like, it's not pretty. I need those happy pills, and I've accepted that, and I understand that. Like, my brain is just different than yours, and I'm okay with that. But it's at least getting that help, or people, they just decide to just give up, and the government's like, yeah, cool, I got you. I don't know.
I honestly thought we were going to be talking about podcasting. We're talking about euthanasia.
Sorry. This is the stuff that goes through my head. Like, yeah.
I think they this is like a Pandora can't go back in the box. It's one of those things that's very minor, but maybe we don't recognize the consequences. Like, we start off by saying it's only for the very rare situation when someone is in extreme pain and they can't take their own life. That's the important thing. If you're depressed, you could theoretically take your own life, but if you're paraplegic, quadriplegic, you can't do it. And then next thing you know, you're questioning what is the difference between murder? Like, should we get rid of murder in the criminal code?
Well,
I'm waiting for the purge to happen. I'm just saying, the way that this world is going, I'm literally waiting for our forefathers to bring in the purge.
Everybody goes to Ottawa. They're waiting outside Parliament building. Come out, you motherfuckers.
Right? I feel like there needs to be some sort of like alliance though. Okay. Don't kill me. We go for them. Okay. Okay.
No,
okay, guys.
you vandalized my property by throwing snow over my fence. I got a bone to pick with you, fucker.
No, it's I think in the movie.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
We've lost the Peyman.
Not the Peyman. It's not loud. Just be nice, eh? Oh, might be nice. Oh no, we really lost him.
So is it
Oh,
our
here we
show
go.
now?
Yay!
I am the host now.
I think that's a message from Parliament. They're like, don't you ever talk about harming us.
Right? That was awkward.
Uh,
It was their Chinese brothers, you know, who they're
just
in
talking
arms
about
with now.
bludgeoning some legislators to death. I mean, this is light topical conversation.
Yeah.
Just nice light. Yeah.
Tyler, I guess we started a little bit late. I gotta get going, Tyler, Kim. I got another podcast in an hour, and I got to prepare.
Yeah, no worries. Like I said, I'm
Sorry about being late.
sorry.
That's okay. That happens. I didn't want to cancel it because I want to talk to you guys, and I really enjoyed the conversation. I was hoping we could explore more your podcast, but I guess in closing, could you guys maybe do a plug for your podcast?
Kim, it's all you.
Well, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central, and every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central, except for this Saturday, on Rumble, X, and YouTube. You can find us on places like X, where this guy that guy really likes to troll. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Yeah. That's where we'd be.
Can't say it better. I always appreciate sitting and talking with you, Peyman, and it's always enlightening, and I always appreciate it. So thank you for even the short time that we could spend here. I appreciate every minute of it. So
sorry, the conversation went all ADHD and all over the place, but
that's fine. I mean, we talked about it's better than if we were talking about like I don't know, Desperate Housewives, or I don't know what the cool kids watch anymore. But it was a good chat, and I want to thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you very much. I
Thank you
appreciate
so much
it
for having us.
Take care.
I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend.
Oh yeah, it's Saturday. Yeah, everybody enjoy your weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.